Are you a thoughtful leader? Maybe you are. Maybe you think you are. Let's find out. I'm Mindy Gibbins-Klein. I'm author of The Thoughtful Leader and host of the Thoughtful Leader podcast. Thoughtful leadership is all about thought leadership that goes above and beyond. Thought leadership that is truly new and original, exciting, disruptive, maybe even groundbreaking. Because let's face it, we need to raise the bar. My guests and I are absolutely obsessed with finding truly original thought leadership, and I'm going to bring you so many exciting ideas and opportunities, things for you to think about, and chances for you to push your thinking that you'll be very glad you tuned in. So thanks so much for checking out Thoughtful Leadership and the Thoughtful Leader podcast. I look forward to connecting with you very, very soon. Welcome to the show. My guest today is the amazing thoughtful leader, Debbie Gilbert. I've known Debbie for 15, 20 years, and she never changes. No, that's not true. She gets better and better. And today we have her at her absolute best so far. So yeah, no pressure then. Hello, Debbie.
Hello, Mindy. Thanks for inviting me.
You have so much to share with our listeners because the thoughtful leaders who form our tribe are interested in being their best. And I know the word best is in at least one of your brands. So we're going to chat about that. We're going to chat about what makes somebody the best. And there's lots of different ways to carve that up. So, but first, tell people what you're up to in the world, what you're doing.
So I have owned a marketing and events agency for 25 years, and you're quite correct. We've known each other for around 15 years. We met on eAcademy, which was a fabulous platform in its day. And over the years, I've sort of grown and developed other products in terms of exhibitions, awards, networking, and they work very nicely alongside the marketing business.
And they all have to do with marketing the business leader, the entrepreneur, the business owner, and marketing the business. And
I mean, my whole aim really is to gain more visibility for entrepreneurs. That's every single business that I run within my group is all around visibility. I also wrote a book, as you know, The Successful Mompreneur, 4 years ago, which has been a great success. And I wrote that because lots of women run businesses around their family or want to, and needed a guide, a complete guide on how to do it and a process. And also it's got stories of other women who have done a business successfully around their families. And it's been a great success. So, you know, I've really tried to put my support out there and to help people get more visible. That's what it's all about.
Yes. Well, you are a successful mumpreneur. You're a successful entrepreneur, full stop. And I love the way you keep innovating. And I think our listeners can learn a lot from you. But it's not just about doing extra things and adding another business, another service. I really want to focus on the idea of being the best. And, you know, the best business women who we've met together, you know, what is it that they have in common? What are the secrets?
So I think every entrepreneur starts with a blank slate when they start their business, and it's how you grow and develop your business that obviously counts and makes you one of the leaders in your industry. But there are other elements. There is about 3 or 4 other things that I think it's worth people considering as they are growing their business. And one is, what are you giving back to the local community or nationally or globally? So I think that's really important. To be the best, you have to be great at what you do, a leader in your industry, but also what are you giving back? What else are you doing to support those around you? I think as well at the moment, we're looking at people who are sustainable and looking at the ways that they run their business in line with trying to keep as eco-friendly as possible. And we've all got to really be very careful with our planet now because we're in such a crisis. And I think the third thing is about personal relationships, really, and how you grow and develop your reputation. So I think, you can be brilliant at what you do and be a brilliant entrepreneur, but you have to have, I think, those other elements there as well. And we're also looking for people who have got tenacity and can ride the challenges in business, because that, as we know, and we've been all tested to the limit for the last 2 years, is a key aspect of somebody who is the best. Because if you are somebody who gives up at the signs of serious trouble, then you're not going to be the best, are you? You have to be someone who powers through those challenges and finds the way forward. So I think there's, as I said, there's a number of aspects there with being the best. And our judges are looking for people with integrity, who think about others, who treat their staff well, or their suppliers and their customers. So there's lots of elements, lots of layers to being the best.
Thank you for sharing that. A few insights if you're thinking about entering the Best Business Women Awards or any awards. Any awards, yes, because we have all kinds of people listening from all over. And, your awards are 7 or 8 years old. We're into the 8th year now. So what have you learned about starting a new venture like that? Because it was very ambitious. And I thought, really, you're going to do that? And you've succeeded with it. But, what helped you succeed in starting this particular venture?
I think, obviously, there was about a year's planning went into it before we launched. We launched in 2015, but I started making the plans a year ahead in 2014, because any new service or business requires quite a lot of planning. And I think that is what trips a lot of entrepreneurs up, is the lack of planning, lack of research, lack of insight into the industry. And although I didn't have any experience of I didn't have any experience of organising awards, I'd had years of experience of entering awards and being at award ceremonies. And my take on it was looking at what was currently out there at the time. And at the time, there was not very many business awards aimed at women. And there is now, which is good, because that means others have followed my lead. But at the time there wasn't. But also how the ceremonies were run, what was the actual experience of people from the minute they arrived through the door to when they left the ceremony, but also what was their experience entering, how detailed were the entries, what was the process behind, the entry process. So I think I sat down and thought, these are the things that I felt were missing. And I'd been to a wide range of award ceremonies. These are the things that I think could be done better. And this is what I'd like to see. So I kind of put this plan together. Yes, like yourself, lots of people, well, I had people call me mad, actually. That was one expression somebody used. They were like, you're completely mad. Why on earth would you set up a National Business Awards? Why don't start with local, with Hertfordshire? And I said, no, because if I'm going to do this, I want to see women from across the country recognised, not just women in Hertfordshire. So yes, it was ambitious. I will happily admit to you that I made £63 on the first year I did the awards. But, I made a profit because obviously the setup costs and getting a website, a judging portal and all of the things we had to do, the fact that I actually made that tiny bit amount of profit, I kind of took as a win. So I set it up. I had the faith and lots of sponsors had faith in me, which was great. If I can't market a service that I'm doing, then I shouldn't be marketing anybody else's business. So I obviously had a marketing plan, decided that the very worst thing that could happen is nobody would enter. That was going to be the worst case scenario, and I wasn't going to let that happen. And we were inundated with entries, which was great. For the very first year, I think we had just under 300 entries, which were shortlisted down to about 70 women. And, at the end of the evening, when everybody had gone, I just burst into tears. I think it was just like that anxiety had built up in me, whether this was all going to be a success. And just seeing the happiness and the joy on people's faces and the whole atmosphere on the night made all of that work that I'd put in worthwhile. And it's built from there. And, I feel very proud every year. It's the highlight of my year. The actual award ceremony is the highlight of my year because there is nothing better than celebrating success. Nothing. And even throughout the pandemic, we managed to do the 2020 awards online. And then 2021, we didn't know what was going to happen. We were still in the midst of the pandemic, but 300 people came, very few dropouts due to COVID, and everybody had a fabulous night. So my advice to anyone thinking of doing anything, it's in the planning, it's in the faith in yourself, your faith in your team, and pushing yourself forward. And you learn each year, oh, we'll do that slightly differently next year, we'll do that better, we'll drop that, we're doing that really well. You do your reviews after every single event, and we still do that now. And we think we've got a good formula now, and it's all very slick and it runs really well. But last year we had to go to a new venue, which was obviously a challenge. But this year we're back at the same venue. So I feel, we've already used that venue. So we're aware of how that venue works, which was, really good.
Well, having attended a few, having sponsored a few, having seen it for myself and handed out a few of the awards, I can honestly say the atmosphere in person is incredible, but I've been at your online events as well. And we do what we have to do. You can't have an in-person event when it's not allowed. So well done for the flexibility, resilience, seeing it through, because people do need to be recognized, and you're doing a really important thing. So let's talk about this idea of best, though, because you've done something special that I would encourage other award organizers to do, and that is the people who are finalists were given silver awards. So I'm going to have you chat about that in a minute. Does that mean they are the best silver winner in their category? How do you reconcile that with being the best?
So as a finalist in awards, which I have been, and I've been a winner, if you go to an awards ceremony and you're chosen as a finalist, one would hope that you were chosen to be a finalist and that you weren't a tick box to make up the seats on the numbers of the night. So with our awards, that is just, the simple fact is that only a certain number of people are getting selected. So we decided, actually, it was because we were running the awards in the pandemic in 2020. And I thought, I need to make these people feel amazing because I've got to do this ceremony online. What else can we do? And it had been at the back of my mind after 2019. I was thinking, just because other award ceremonies don't give everyone a silver award, why is that? Why do I have to be the same as everybody else? And I thought, I don't have to be the same as everybody else. And of course, it's more expensive to give out 100 silver trophies than it is to give everyone a certificate. Of course, it's more expensive. But I can't put a price on smiley faces and happiness and joy and all of the things that come with that sense of achievement, because I felt I've got to change this. And if other awards follow, fine, that's great. Because I wanted to change the fact that if you walk into my awards as a finalist, you will walk out a silver or gold winner. And you will walk out with a sense of accomplishment because you deserve to be there. And if you deserve to be there, you deserve to be recognised. And a finalist sounds a bit, to be honest, a bit bleh. It sounds a bit, oh, I was a finalist. And what happens is, in the mindset, is you come away going, I didn't win. And that, for me, I thought, I've got to change this. Because that, for me, was just dragging you down, when actually you should be walking on air that you were chosen out of hundreds of people to be a finalist. But actually you leave feeling deflated, your ego's a bit bruised, you feel like a failure. And I've had this said to me so many times, but I have been in that position myself where I've sat at an award ceremony. Yeah, Mindy, you're saying the same thing. And I've literally come out and thought, well, I've had a great night with a few drinks and I've met people and I've had a great meal, but I didn't win. So I thought, I'm going to change this while we're in the pandemic, test it out, see how people respond to it, see if it changes the dynamics of how people were feeling. And it did. And I thought, I'm going to keep this. And obviously, yes, it is a lot more money, but it's not about money sometimes. And I'm not an awards company. Yes, I run awards, but there are companies out there that are they're churning out loads of different awards every single year. That's what they do. And they are obviously looking at this from a cost point of view. So they are thinking, bottom line, we need to make as much money as we can. And where can we skim it so that we make as much money? And of course, spending hundreds of pounds on silver trophies probably isn't top priority for people. And I have had a couple of award organisers I have spoken to since I did this who said, you're crazy because people won't re-enter if they get a silver award. They'll think they've ticked that box, move on. Well, that's simply not true, because we had people re-enter from 2020 into 2021 who were silver winners, who wanted to come back and win a gold, or people who just felt, they loved the concept and felt that it was worthwhile putting an entry in. I mean, for me, our awards go out, we social media and our list, and we promote and we advertise. I'm not necessarily looking for repeat business from people who've already entered. So that to me is not the be all and end all. It's about the passion behind the businesswoman, and the fact that she wants to re-enter is great. So it did that we disproved that theory last year. And what I noticed on the night was a completely different sense of, even though I feel that we've always had a great sense of celebration, I felt it had absolutely gone through the roof. That every single person there, I think there was 100 finalists there, something like that, they all walked away with an award, and they all walked away feeling that they had been recognised for their hard work and their accomplishments.
Having been there, I can second that. I will celebrate again every time. I'm a sponsor again this year. I'm delighted to support it. I'm going to pick up on a phrase that you used, Debbie, which is it's worthwhile entering. Because, there's times when I've been really busy and I thought I can't be bothered. I don't have time. It's too much effort. And some years I've entered more than others. And, I've won a lot and been finalist, for a lot of awards. And we've seen each other at many ceremonies. But is it always worthwhile entering, or are there some caveats?
I think you need a strategy with awards each year. They need to be part of your marketing plan. You need to plan out when the opening times are, when are the close dates, what it is you're trying to achieve this year, because it might be this year you want to be recognised for customer service, for example, or that you want to win a specific industry award, or you want to get known more locally to where your business is based. So I think have a plan behind it and then decide what you're going to do. Now, the first time you ever enter awards, the workload is high because you've got to get together a lot of information. But once you've done that and you've got a template almost, then you just add to it each year, change things, keep a folder on your desktop of the things that have happened month to month, week to week, because we often find we forget about the things we do. When you get interviewed for a podcast, when you get a bit of press, when you guest blog on someone's website, when you do a TEDx talk, whatever it might be, just keep that information to one side and make sure that you include it in your entry, and always have a process for collecting reviews and testimonials once you've worked with a client or delivered something to a customer, because that has to be key, because that is your digital footprint. That means the judges can go and look and say, that person's got X number of Google reviews or Facebook reviews or LinkedIn recommendations. That validates everything that you're saying in your entry. And it's so, so important, not just to gain new customers generally and to rank your website better, but if you're going for awards, make sure you're constantly getting reviews for your business.
So are you saying that it's not just the application, that the judges might troll through the web and social media and look at all your stuff and your profiles? Yeah? It's
possible. It depends on the awards. I can't speak for other awards, but generally, you want to look the best you can online. Your online presence really now is your shop window. Yeah. And even if you've got a shop window, you should have a good online presence. So, yes, make sure you look the best you can be. And if you've got a profile like LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook, tidy them up, make them look good, get some reviews. If you're not using Twitter, for example, deactivate it. Make yourself look as best as you can online.
Right. So it's about being the best. It's about looking the best. It's about putting your best foot forward. Yeah. I once had some help putting together, well, actually several times, either my marketing department, my PR agency, and award specialists have all put together award applications for us because we're busy. And so what I was saying before is true. The entrepreneur who's always busy, to add awards to the mix is a big ask, especially the first time, like you say, putting together all this stuff. So what do you think about getting help and delegating or outsourcing part of this?
I think it's a good idea. However, you must have input yourself. So I think sometimes somebody else can delve and talk about your business and you in much more detail than you ever thought possible, because, we often don't sing enough about our accomplishments. And somebody else who asks you the right questions and starts digging will extract that information from you. But the sort of thing that I would warn people about is please read the entry that they submit. And this might seem ridiculous, but every single year, and I promise you, every single year, we will have somebody that says to me, where did you get that information that's in the program? Or they will, if they're not shortlisted, they will ask me, why haven't we been shortlisted? And I'll go through the entry and they're like, well, I wouldn't have put that, or I didn't say that. Oh, and it comes out that they've either got someone in the team to write it and they haven't proof checked it and read it themselves, or they've used an outside agency and haven't checked the entry. They've trusted them. And you must read your entry before it's submitted yourself and all the evidence that they're submitting for you. Because if you don't, you will never know what they've put through. And they may have missed some very key parts of information that could be critical to you being shortlisted or even winning. So I think it's a great idea. I think as well, if English isn't your first language, or you struggle with writing, maybe you're dyslexic, or you're a very creative person and therefore writing is not something you're very good at, and you struggle with words, then definitely outsource it to somebody else. But make sure you have at least 2 meetings with them, one at the beginning to get across all your salient points, make sure they really get underneath you in your business, and a final meeting before submission.
Very, very sage advice. And I hope people listening are inspired to go for it and enter more awards. And, we can't control the outcome, but you have to be in it to win it, as they say. Debbie and I didn't make that up. So one final thing, there was an event that you organized last year, and I took part in that. And it was all about leveraging your award. So when you have won a silver, a gold, been shortlisted, finalist, whatever you want to call it, if you have had recognition, what are 3 or 4 different ways in which you can make that into more, leverage it?
Well, the number one thing is write a book.
Is it?
You don't have a book, you should. If you've won an award, you're clearly somebody that the industry needs to take more notice of. You're a leader in your industry. You've clearly got a lot of knowledge. So what can you distill into a book? I would suggest. How about running your own podcast or being a guest on a podcast? I would suggest definitely getting a PR agency involved and seeing what PR you can get from your award win. And we've had, I'm so delighted to say, our winners have been on things like the Victoria Derbyshire Show, Steph's Lunchtime Hour, Sky News, BBC News, and one of them's even got her own series now on Channel 4. So there is lots of opportunities out there for media. Radio interviews as well, and I would also say speaking. So you are a leader in your industry if you've won an award, and therefore, again, if speaking is not your strong point, get some training and get in front of those audiences and sharing that knowledge and expertise.
Yes. So too many people win the award and then they're on to the next thing. Mm-hmm. Some people write a book and they're on to the next thing and they don't leverage that. But my team can have a chat with them. So there's so much more where that came from. But we're at the end, pretty much at the end of the episode. Debbie, is there one piece of advice, if you could just leave the listeners with one thing to think about, what would it be?
Don't be the best kept secret.
She's managed to get the word best in there. I love it.
Because I spoke to a lady the other day, 20 years in business. Have you ever entered awards? No. Why not? Never really occurred to me. Don't be the best kept secret.
Okay, we will go from the best kept secret to the best and being a winner. Thank you so much, Debbie Gilbert, for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And everybody else, just keep listening, keep watching, follow Debbie, follow our other guests, and make sure you subscribe so that you can benefit from all the wisdom from all our guests here on the Thoughtful Leader podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of The Thoughtful Leader, and I hope it's inspired you to be more thoughtful as a leader in your business. Please consider subscribing and leaving a review. An important question for you. Do you want to create a culture of thought leadership in your organization? My best-selling book, The Thoughtful Leader, is available now on Amazon and many other sites in paperback, ebook, and audiobook formats. Please visit www.mindygk.com for more great content. That's www.mindygk.com. Speak to you again soon.